With Survivor Series only a little bit more than a month away, everybody's speculating what the War Games match will be in Chicago. If you guys watch SmackDown on Friday night, rumors going around that it will be a Raw versus SmackDown War Games at Survivor Series. I got the latest on that rumor right here on today's OTS. Also, TNA is back. Impact Wrestling will be no more in January with the Hard to Kill pay-per-view after Boundful Glory revealed that TNA Wrestling is back and Impact Wrestling is now dead. What's my thoughts on that? All that plus so much more right here on OTS. We're going to start with the Survivor Series, which I'm very excited about, man. I can't wait for the Survivor Series, and it's crazy to think when Vince McMahon was in charge, how little they put into the Survivor Series. And now with Triple H bringing back War Games, it's one of the most must-see events of the entire year. Oh, JD is a Triple H shill, man. Good TV is good TV. Shitty TV is where I draw the line. The rumor after Friday Night SmackDown is that WWE may possibly be building towards a Raw versus SmackDown themed War Games match. Dave Meltzer says no, that is not the case. Dave Meltzer noted in the daily update on Wrestling Observer Online, he says, and I quote, on Friday, based on an angle, we talked about the possibility of a Raw versus SmackDown War Games match at Survivor Series. We are told right now that the War Games match is not planned as a Raw versus SmackDown match. End quote. Good. I don't know why anybody would assume that it would be a Raw versus SmackDown match. Triple H is in charge now. What Triple H is doing, and he knows that, we all know that Vince McMahon was in charge for most of the year, and we all know that they've constantly broken their brand split rules and made everything feel so insignificant with people jumping over from Raw to SmackDown and SmackDown to Raw, Raw to NXT, SmackDown to NXT. It's just ridiculous. None of it means anything. The brand split doesn't mean a single thing. So why would you expect Triple H to go out there and do a Raw versus SmackDown themed War Games match when the entire concept of the match simply doesn't call for something like that to take place? What will take place is a mixture of Judgment Day, Bloodline, and all of their dealings and their little camaraderie for now. Damian Priest having the Money in the Bank briefcase, the internal turmoil with Damian Priest and Finn Balor against Cody Rhodes and his band of baby faces, which include anybody from Sami Zayn to Kevin Owens, LA Knight, John Cena. We could see any one of those names in the War Games match. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso and their rumored match heading into WrestleMania. Survivor Series is where you typically start to see the little seeds planted for WrestleMania season. I think that's going to be tremendous. I can't wait for that match to happen, but the brand split is basically non-existent. What Triple H is trying to do is try to make it feel like an intricate part of the show. So he's not going to have people jumping ship from show to show. He set Nick Aldis as the SmackDown GM. He set Adam Pearce as the Raw GM. There needs to be law and order on each show. Just by that decision alone, you see where his vision is. He's going to try and make it feel unique from Raw to SmackDown and SmackDown back to Raw. Now, if they want to do some brand split stuff, they really need to get the trust of the fan base back and take their own rules and make them feel legit instead of breaking them every single time. It's like WWE gets that itch, right? It's tough to not scratch it. They gotta stop. If you want to make the brand split feel significant, then stop. Separate rosters, separate titles, keep everybody on their appropriate shows, and when the event calls for it, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, or whatever event or theme that they have during the year where it calls for both brands to be integrated together, then you make it happen. And if you want to have a Survivor Series match one-off once per year where it is Raw versus SmackDown. I want to see an entire year's worth of WWE programming where not one single person from each show jumps to the other. Then we really get a Raw vs. SmackDown theme that means something. And maybe some internal GM-friendly competition or something along those lines. Trades or, one GM says something about the other. Make it fun. Make it really feel like a sporting event. Make it seem like two teams in the same division going head-to-head and they're trying to best each other. That's the way it should feel. That's what Triple H is going to try and get back to, something that Vince McMahon didn't really care about. But the War Games match is going to be Bloodline Judgment Day against Cody and his band of babyfaces in Chicago. I had a lot of people ask me about the Impact Bound for Glory pay-per-view. No, I did not watch it, but I heard very good things about it. Typically, Impact does produce some great in-ring action. I have no problem with them in that aspect. Now, Impact, at the end of the show, they revealed a vignette or a trailer that revealed that they will be going back to TNA Wrestling. Yes, tits and ass wrestling. The Vince Russo era of wrestling is back. His ode, his pride and joy, Vince Russo. He's got TNA Wrestling back, or it's not really anything to do with Vince Russo, but it was a Vince Russo thing. It's synonymous with Vince Russo. But TNA Wrestling is back, and that will arrive in 2024. The big name change was announced on Saturday night during a video package at the end of the Bound for Glory pay-per-view that as of January, they will revert to their original name, TNA, not tits and ass. It's Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And now the name of the show will be Impact. This move was made, and there was a lot that went into this. It wasn't a move that was made overnight, and there was a lot of planning. And the announcement was tentatively slated to be made back at Slammiversary before it was pushed back to be announced at Bound for Glory on Saturday night. The final decision to flip the switch back to TNA was locked in about 2 to 3 weeks back. This is all coming from PW Insider and Mike Johnson. He's told that by Impact and TNA sources that the decision was made for several reasons. One, it would unite the fragmented history of the promotion, which at different times was known as TNA, then Global Force Wrestling, and then finally Impact Wrestling. A secondary factor in making the decision was that a number of the company's international partners preferred the TNA name and at times were still using the name internally. Mike Johnson says also he was told that the company was quietly polled on long-term fans of the promotion earlier in the year and learned that many of them slated that they preferred the TNA name. Fans who have chanted TNA since the promotion returned to the road have also been a factor in the company thinking about making the change and then finally flipping the switch back. There was a lot of TNA nostalgia several years ago when the promotion brought back the TNA title with Moose as the title holder, with the original plan for the company to revive TNA as a separate TV series and possibly promotion out of the TNA reunion pay-per-view. But the COVID-19 pandemic stalled those plans before they were dropped. Instead of two different promotions in a TV series, instead TNA has returned as the name of the company. The plan is for Impact to close out the remainder of the year and then transition over to TNA in January, with the Hard to Kill pay-per-view in Las Vegas being the first official TNA show. The UK tour will still utilize the Impact Wrestling name. Going forward, the TV series will now be known as TNA Impact Wrestling. Mike Johnson is under the impression that they will return to using the old logos and old title belts. Or not old title belts, but new title belts with the TNA branding on it as of January. Speaking of the title belts, they will be rolled out with the current title holders using those belts instead. The new belts have already been crafted and produced. They aren't likely to be used until January. The six-sided ring is not coming back. So if you guys are wondering if this means that there's going to be a difference in presentation, which I'll get into in a second, the six-sided ring is not coming back. This wasn't even discussed, as just about every talent in the company who ever worked in the six-sided ring found the traditional four-sided ring to be easier on their bodies, says Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson also says that the company intends to move forward with current storylines, talent, and style, but utilize the TNA name going forward when they hit 2024. The plan is to take all of the moves Anthem has made to improve the company since taking it over from Dixie Carter several years back and continue onward as TNA Impact Wrestling. So a lot of people ask me about my opinion of this, and I don't really know why. I don't watch Impact Wrestling, but this is a big enough news story in the world of professional wrestling where I feel like I should give my 2 cents on it. I don't need to watch Impact Wrestling for the reasons of this opinion. I don't need to watch the weekly television show. I didn't need to watch Bound for Glory to give you my feeling on this particular story. All I got from this is more than enough to give you my opinion on what I think of this story. According to Mike Johnson, as I read this story to you guys, they're using the old logos. They got new TNA Championship belts that have currently been created and will be rolling out in January. No plans to go back to the 6-sided ring. The company intends to move forward with current storylines, talent, and style, but utilize the TNA name going forward when they hit 2024. So all that this reminds me of is you walking in the mall and you walk right by Victoria's Secret with your wife, partner, girlfriend, what have you, and you see the workers in there changing out the mannequin and what she's wearing to the new seasonal lingerie that they're going to be promoting going into the fall and winter months. So that's basically it. Same mannequin, different lingerie. Or if you are home and you're working outside and you're cleaning your windows, and your windows seem a little raggedy and a little dirty, a couple of squirts of Windex, a squeegee, a paper towel, a sponge, what have you, and you wipe down the windows and you clean the windows, and the windows are now shiny once again until they get dirty again. So what is this? This is basically TNA operating as Impact. So why is everybody so excited about a name change? What is the name change going to do? According to this report, everything basically is going to remain the same. The international partners refer to it as TNA internally because they preferred that name. Great. Couple of fucking fans. Handful of fucking fans. I see more people waiting in line at fucking Starbucks to order a fucking coffee. People chanting TNA, TNA, TNA. That's the reason for the name change? That's what's got everybody excited about the fucking name change from Impact to TNA. You know how many new fans they're going to generate? You know how many new fans are going to join the TNA army watching Impact Wrestling on Thursday night? 0. This will generate 0 interest. This will generate 0 fans. You will create nothing from this one major announcement that everybody's seemingly excited about. What's the difference? The show's going to be the same. New championship belts are going to be there. Fine, great. Yeah, nice. I like a good championship title. Great. Show's going to remain the same. They're still operating out of the same fucking studio in Nashville, wherever the fuck they film. They're not on the road unless it's a major show or an international tour. They go right back to the fucking Impact Zone or whatever the fuck they call it. So what exactly is the same? Or what's changed? Everything feels the same. Everything is going to remain the same. What's the big deal? Production's going to be the same. Look at the show's going to feel the same. The way that they operate's going to feel the same. The matches, the storylines, commentary team, the way they shoot shit, where they film, the fucking feel of the show. Everything is going to be the same. Meanwhile, all I hear is that Impact Wrestling is a great show and you should really be watching it. Some of the shit that you're watching around is better than what you see on WWE. Storylines are better than WWE. Storylines are better than AEW. Some of the in-ring action rivals AEW. Great. But what are they doing to generate a new audience? What are they doing? You know, all these geeks on social media say the same thing, think the same thing about Tony Khan. What are they doing to generate new audience or get interest to the show and find new fans to get the interest from that casual viewer? You think this is going to fucking all of a sudden flip the switch for Impact Wrestling, changing their name back to TNA? This will generate 0 buzz. You will find 0 new fans because of this move. Great. 20 years, TNA. They got such a rich, long history. The company that never dies. Hard to kill, aptly named. It's apropos that they got that pay-per-view in January where they're flipping the switch and changing the name. What the fuck does it matter if nothing else is going to change? Impact Wrestling is so fucking good. Take it out of the Impact Zone or wherever the fuck you film it. Take it on the road and start generating some new fucking fans. How about that for a fucking change? Make the show feel a little bit more upscale. Their production is terrible. What are you doing in that aspect? Take it on the road, start promoting your fucking show. It's so fucking great. What are you doing? You want to know what's going to really get me to watch Impact Wrestling? I'll tell you two things in particular right now. You want fucking change? A name change and a fucking switch back to the old logo is not going to do anything. You want to know what's going to generate interest? You want to know what's going to get fans on board with Impact Wrestling? You get Anthem to get the fucking money out. Blank check. You sign CM Punk and you sign Will Ospreay, who apparently is going to be a free agent in 2024. That's what you do. Start generating some buzz that way. Who on that show is going to generate new fans and a new audience? Nobody. Get it out of the Impact Zone. Take it on the road. Sign two major free agents that are going to be there weekly to make the shows feel important. Other than that, everything else is going to be the same. If they change from the current ring to the six-sided ring, I'd be like, all right, we're going back to the old school roots. Fine. They're not even doing that. So what do you expect out of a name change while everything else is going to remain the same? People are so fucking funny, man. Everybody making a big deal. Oh my God, TNA is back. It's the same fucking show with a name change. Seriously, I can change my fucking name. And what difference would it make? I could change myself to JD from NJ. I got a place in New Jersey. So what? I'm still New York. Show's gonna be the fucking same. I'll be operating with this fucking grid. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Everybody made a big deal about nothing. Unless you go out and really make a fucking difference, start promoting your shows, take the show to a different fucking venue, get it on the road in front of new audiences so they see what the fuck you're doing. Everything is going to remain the same. Seriously. TNA, you can make it feel so great. You can make it all the hype you want. Put a great show on, whatever the case may be. By the end of that, everybody's going to feel like, oh, well, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Impact Wrestling is still here, just operating under TNA. TNA, TNA, TNA. There's fans on the road started chanting TNA because Impact, you can't chant Impact. Impact, Impact. Give me a fucking break, man. A lot of these geeks online, they get excited about very little, man. So little. It takes barely any effort to excite these fucking people, man. And nobody has any logical thought at all. Seriously. When you guys see change in Impact, you let me know. And I mean substantial change, significant change. You let me know. And then maybe I'll be interested. This is not going to generate any interest. Thank you guys very much for all your support. Let me know what you think down below of these two stories. I got more coming as soon as it breaks. And I will be live tonight, right after Monday Night Raw, with the Monday Night Raw post-show as we are on our way to Crown Jewel and Survivor Series. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Let's try for 1,000 likes. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And make sure you go out there and check out all the other content on the channel. Plenty of it for you. I'll be live tonight for Raw. Enjoy your Mondays, and I'll see you right back here in the venue tonight for the Raw post-show on OTS. I'll see you guys later.